Man, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Gomi TV, and we back. Tough week last week, man. Had a tough week, but we did catch a big break on a Sunday night parlay, as well as taking the Falcons outright Monday night, man. That brought us back. Some player props and things like that, man. Make sure you guys are following the Instagram to stay up to date with all those the latest bets. I've also got like soccer bets, MMA bets, just everything is most current and up to date there. Obviously, I make the videos once a week to kind of give you like my analysis of the week and a breakdown of as many games as possible. Obviously, the whole NFL slate, not the whole college slate, but just the bigger games. So, without further ado, man, let's just get right into it. Let's get right into it this week, man. First game up, starting with the college football slate. Louisville on the road versus Miami. Miami laying 13.5, 2-touchdown favorites, man. Louisville, surprisingly, is actually a really good team. Really good metrics. Number one in EPA pass defense. In the last 2 years, they've actually kept this game close. It's an interconference game. ACC, I believe. And Miami, on the other side of that, so even though these have been like a divisional close game historically with Louisville and Miami, Miami has been a very dominant home team. ATS. And I think that in this game, they have the edge where they can control the line of scrimmage, force Louisville to pass the ball, kind of force them to be one-dimensional in the game. And then, obviously, like, at that point, Miami can let the dogs loose and get that front seven pass rush going. Sorry, my dog is in the background, and I'm wondering what she's doing. Miami's also beating talented teams like USF and Florida at home by double digits. So I think they have what it takes at home to beat Louisville and cover. So give me the Miami Hurricanes, man. Next up, we have Nebraska minus 8.5 on the road versus Minnesota. Nebraska, they have two big advantages in this game. Their offense averaging 41 points per game versus Minnesota, 27 points per game. And then Nebraska's defensive line versus Minnesota's offensive line. Those two edges are big leans in favor of Nebraska. On the other side of that, Minnesota, they're a really good home team, 5-0 in this matchup straight up at home. But I think under Matt Rule, this Nebraska team has really started to flourish. They've hit their stride. I think this is a game they can win and cover against Minnesota. I think it'll be a really close, tough first half. But I think Nebraska can cover this one in the second with some explosive plays. Give me Nebraska to win and cover 31-20. Moving on, we got LSU on the road versus Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, 2.5-point home favorites. This is the first time Vanderbilt is a favorite over a ranked opponent since 1979. And it's the first time they're a favorite over LSU since 1948. LSU 9-0 straight up in this matchup in the last 9 games. Obviously, Vanderbilt is no longer the Vanderbilt that people associate them to be within the SEC. This is a revamped Vanderbilt team with Diego Pavia, a good offense, a good rushing attack, and a pretty solid defense with some good edge and pressure rush. Vandy bounced back. This is a potential Vanderbilt bounce back spot. And off a bye week at home after the Alabama loss, and they failed to cover. Vandy, 7th offense in scoring, averaging 43.2 points per game, second best third down conversion rate in the country. And their defense is a top 50 defense. So it's a strength-on-strength matchup. LSU, 5th best scoring. So LSU, obviously, defensive team. Vanderbilt, offensive team. Vanderbilt, scoring, rushing attack. LSU, run defense, scoring defense. So it's a strength-on-strength matchup here. But I think that, you know, the historical significance is going to play a factor in this game. This is like a first time in 30 years type thing, 50 years. And I think that Vanderbilt actually wins this game at home. When you look at it and you try and like find a spot historically, like, okay, where is Vanderbilt going to win? Where is Vanderbilt going to kind of make this comeback? I think it's right here at home. Give me Vanderbilt to win outright, 24-21. Man, I love LSU, but I just think it's kind of a flat spot for them. Moving on, man. Baylor on the road versus TCU. TCU laying 2.5 points at home. This is going to be a good matchup, high-scoring matchup. Sawyer Robertson versus Josh Hoover. I lean towards Robertson in that matchup. Baylor, number one passing, not the number one, but one of the top passing offenses in the country. Number one in passing yards per game, at 338 yards per game. And they've played a tougher schedule than TCU has. I believe Baylor has. As far as TCU, this is a bounce-back game at home after they lost to Kansas State. There was a lot of hype around the TCU team this year coming into this season with Josh Hoover and their offensive talent and some of the stuff they have going on defensively. However, I really haven't seen a lot of that. They beat up on some weaker teams. I don't think that they played great in the teams that they've played that have talent. And I think this is a situation where it's a shootout game. But I think the Baylor offense is rolling, and I think I want the points in my back pocket with Baylor. I think they're an outright dog to win this game, but I think they can cover the 2.5. So give me Baylor to win. 31, 27, 33, 30, something like that. Baylor outright. Next up, Georgia Tech on the road versus Duke. Duke laying 1.5 points. We talked about Georgia Tech on the show. Georgia Tech, lives and dies on establishing and controlling the line of scrimmage. They have an extremely potent run game. They're 7th in the country in rushing yards per attempt, 12th in rushing yards per game at 238 rushing yards per game. Duke, they've been a good team. They've been explosive on offense with Mensa, but they've had problems with turnovers. And specifically, Duke's defense has been traditionally good versus opponents who rush the ball over 30 attempts per game. So when you look at that edge, it kind of leans towards Duke at home, right, with that edge in defense, and then obviously their explosive play call. However, I just think that Georgia Tech, I think when you're able to really solidify a run game, control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, time of possession, I think those are things that translate on the road, and they just win games. So Georgia Tech, give me Georgia Tech to win this game outright as a dog, 33-30. I think they control the pace of the game. It might even be a lower scoring game, like 24-20, but I think Georgia Tech can win this game outright. Next up, man, Oklahoma. Oklahoma, 5.5 point road favorites versus South Carolina. Before I even look at my notes, man, just off the top of my head, like South Carolina was one of my favorites going into the season, and they've just been really underwhelming and haven't performed to kind of my expectations. But all that aside, in this game, the best bet is the under, which has hit in all of the games for Oklahoma so far. Oklahoma coming off of a loss, with a lot of motivation coming off of their loss last week in this game, as well as South Carolina, who's been struggling on offense, going up against the number 2 scoring defense. I think they're only allowing like 11 points per game. And this is obviously the toughest defense and biggest challenge for South Carolina all year. I think Oklahoma can win this game by possibly 2 touchdowns, at least like 10 points, 23-10. They've just got a lot of talent, bounce back spot. South Carolina at home, but they just really haven't shown me enough to put my money on them, especially with a team like Oklahoma, who's I still think they're in the top 10 in my team. So give me Oklahoma to win and cover. Next up, man, Ole Miss on the road versus Georgia. Georgia laying 7.5 points at home. This is an interesting game, man. Ole Miss 5th in total yards on offense, averaging 515 total yards, and they have a good defense as well, scoring defense, holding teams under 20 points per game. Beating Georgia in Athens is incredibly hard. However, Georgia against the spread is 1-6 in their last 7 home games. I think Georgia, this is a flat spot for them. Ole Miss, they are a really good team. I think they are highly motivated in this spot to come out here and prove that. I think Ole Miss plus the points, I think they can keep this game close. I definitely think they can keep it within a touchdown. So give me Ole Miss and the points in my back pocket. Probably, I think Georgia does win this game, maybe 28-23, but I don't think they cover. I think they fail to cover in this one. Next up, man, Texas A&M, 7.5 point road favorites against Arkansas. This is another strength-on-strength matchup. You have a really good Arkansas offense going up against a really good Texas A&M defense. Arkansas has had an incredibly difficult stretch of games, man. Their last 4 games Ole Miss, Memphis, Notre Dame, Tennessee. And they played all of those teams very competitively. However, they got blown out by Notre Dame. And Texas A&M beat Notre Dame. So maybe you think like, oh, okay, Texas A&M is better than Notre Dame. This is a spot where Texas A&M can blow them out. I think it's tough to play them on the road in Arkansas. Arkansas, like I said, playing a lot of these top 10 teams really close, losing by just like a touchdown. I think they can win. I think they can play Texas A&M close. I don't think they win this game. I think Texas A&M wins this game outright, but I think that Arkansas can keep it close, like 31-27. Arkansas covers the spread at home. But I think Texas A&M is a top 5 team. I think they have what it takes to win this game for sure. Texas Tech, next game up, man. Texas Tech, 7.5-point road favorites versus Arizona State. Similar matchup, but this one, I don't have as much stock in Arizona State. I think Texas Tech, this is just an all-day, much better team. This is like a likely blowout scenario for me. I think Texas Tech wins this game convincingly. Right now, as I'm making the video, Sam Leavitt is like still questionable to play. So obviously, if he's out, it's tough to have any stock in the Arizona State offense without their basically their NFL prospect quarterback. If he's in the game, then you have a little bit more hopes. Arizona State at home, I just don't think they have enough talent surrounding to win the game. So give me Texas Tech 43-17. Texas Tech has one of the highest scoring offenses in the country. They're going to keep the ball, keep things rolling here. That one's short and sweet, man. Nothing much to say there. Moving on. Tennessee. This is going to be a good matchup. Tennessee on the road versus Alabama. Alabama, 7.5-point home favorites, man. Tennessee, one of the best offenses in the country. Number 1 scoring offense, averaging 48.2 points per game. Going up against a strong Alabama defense at home that's been playing really well. However, susceptible to big plays. The Alabama defense has given up a lot of big plays. On the other side of the ball for them, Ty Simpson, he's really looked really great, moving the ball, just controlling the offense. He looks like a NFL level quarterback, and he's just going to continue to develop even better. And I'm kind of sick of fading Alabama. They're 4-1 against the spread this year. I've been fading them. I would love to say, this is a spot for explosive Tennessee offense to cover the spread. I don't want to fade Alabama anymore, man. I'm on the Tide. Roll Tide, baby. Let's get it. Alabama, 38-30. I think they just have enough on the defensive side of the ball at home to win this game by 8 or more points, man. So we switching it up on this episode, man. This week we rocking with the Tide. I'm not falling into my same trap, man. We on the same side as the Tide. Hey, let's get it, man. Next up, USC versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame laying 9.5. Absolute blatant disrespect to the Trojans, man. USC, whose offense is possibly one of the best offenses in the country, definitely top 3, ranked number 2 in total yards, ranked 2nd in passing yards per game, ranked 3rd in total scoring, and ranked number 1 in EPA per play and per pass play. I think this USC offense can absolutely can make this a high-scoring game and keep it close. I think they can win this game outright. Remember, this is a huge rivalry game between USC and Notre Dame, man. And I think both teams are going to show up, obviously, in Notre Dame. But I think USC comes out here fired up. I think their biggest problem is their defense. But I think their defense, highly motivated in this scenario, in this situation, comes out and plays. And I think their offense just has the firepower to win them the game late in the game. 41-38. Give me USC to win this one outright. One of my biggest underdogs of the year. But this is an auto cover. These guys cover 10 points in their sleep. So give me USC. Next up, man, last 2 games. I don't know how we always end up running through these games so fast. I feel like maybe I've not given you guys enough information or going into the games in depth. But next up, man, Missouri, 1.5-point favorites versus Auburn. Missouri, man, they laid an egg for us last week against Alabama, man. They were the only team that didn't hit on our lay. That was a tough one, man. Tough game to watch. They hung in there for a bit. They were just kind of like always chasing. As far as this matchup against Auburn, on paper, this game is heavily favors Missouri. 7th in total yards versus 112th for Auburn. 10th in points versus 91st for Auburn. On paper, man, this is just emphatically all signs point to Missouri. Give me Missouri on a bounce-back game. They should win this game convincingly. I think the line is only where it's at because, Auburn's a good team. Jackson Arnold's played good. They're at home. But I think SEC Missouri is just on the top tier level of talent this year. So just give me Missouri, man. Like I said, things that translate in football are the run game and the defense. Missouri has the better run game and the better defense. That's going to translate on the road. Short, sweet, simple, baby. Give me Missouri to win this game outright. And I think they win it convincingly, cover. Last game on the slate, man. The biggest game of the week. Right here in the home state. Man, Utah, 3.5-point favorites versus BYU. The Holy War, the biggest and greatest rivalry ever in college sports, man. Let's talk about it. Almost identical on paper, both of these teams. Probably a big edge to BYU for home field advantage. Big edge to Utah on quarterback play. I think ultimately the Utes just are a better team, better talent. I want the better quarterback. Historically, games in Provo have hit the under. This matchup, it pits the two best running offenses of the Big 12, against each other. So you got the first and second rushing offenses in Utah and BYU, and the 11th and 12th scoring defenses. All signs kind of point to the under here. But I think the Utes win this game. I think their offensive and defensive line is significantly better, and I think that push in a close rivalry game is probably one of the biggest factors. Give me the University of Utah, man, to win this game outright, especially after I want to see what happened last year, man. Utes got this one in the bag. Auto lock. Moving on to the NFL, man. Give me my water break. I feel like I need to go check on my dog. It's way too quiet. She's definitely getting in trouble. All right, man. First game up. Steelers on the road. This is Thursday night primetime. 5.5-point road favorites versus the Bengals. One of the biggest things I've been seeing about this game is the Mike Tomlin 0-6 Thursday night stuff, and he can't win primetime games, man. Throw that out the window. That don't matter. We're talking about the Steelers, man. Steelers are 4-1 right now. On paper, slightly better defense than the Bengals. The Bengals have the worst offense in the National Football League, and then they have one of the worst defenses. So just all around an ugly team. They just brought in Joe Flacco, who's got the most experience in that division. So playing Pittsburgh, obviously playing for the Browns, playing for the Bengals. The Bengals do have weapons. I mean, they've got Jamar Chase. They have T. Higgins, Chase Brown. They do not have what matters most, and that's an offensive line. Because if you can't block, you can't give the quarterback time to throw. You don't give time for your players to get downfield, for the play to develop. You can't do any gap, zone, run scheme. It's just all a mess over there. On the other side of the ball, the Steelers, when they play with Hayward, Highsmith, and Watt, they don't lose. I want to say they're 3-0 when all of those three guys play and they're healthy. They've got them all tonight. I think this is just a convincingly win for the Steelers. You've got Aaron Rodgers playing mistake-free football. The over is a good bet in this game, but I want to lean Steelers. I think the Steelers can win this one 27-20. Don't believe in the Mike Tomlin curse, man. This is a game where he breaks that. This is a get-right spot. Give me the Steelers, -5.5. I think they win this game 27-20. Next up, man, we got a Sunday international. The Rams versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rams, 3.5-point favorites. Rams, obviously one of the best passing offenses in the leagues. And the Jags ranked 30th in pass yards given up, 256 yards per game. And their best player, Devin Lloyd, who is leading the league in interceptions, is out. I think that edge just points towards the Rams. I think this is just a really good spot for them to bounce back. Rams 4-2 ATS, Jags 3-3. All signs point to the Rams. Give me the Rams to win and cover 27-17. Better defense, better run game. Those things travel. I'll take the Rams. Next up, man, Patriots versus the Titans. For some reason, I don't have the spread on this. Let me find it real quick. It's just not written down in my notes. Patriots -6.5. Well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Titans football is non-existent. Ranked 31st, 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 and 32nd in all top 5 metrics. They just fired their head coach. They're 0-10 ATS in their last 10 home games. Patriots 11th in scoring offense and 7th in scoring defense. Give me the Patriots to win and cover in this game. I don't think this is a spot for the Titans to get right. I think they get rolled in this game. Obviously, high motivation factor when your coach gets fired, so they've got that emotional play. That doesn't really outright win you games, and the Patriots they're actually a good fundamental team, so I just don't want to take that spot with the Titans. Give me the Patriots to win and cover 27-13. Hey, man, moving on. Rolling on to the next game. Saints on the road versus the Bears. Bears laying 4.5 after a big win against the Commanders, man. Bears back at home running a 3-game win streak where they had 11 forced turnovers in those games. Even though their defense ranks last in yards per play and 31st in rushing yards per game at 156.4. Going up against the Saints, man, the Saints do not turn the ball over very much. Rattlers played really good football. They've got the Kamara, Kendre Miller, Taysom Hill, who's now back. I think that is so significant for the Saints offense to have Taysom Hill back, especially in the run game, which I just pointed out, really the Bears have struggled against. And I think that's a spot where the Saints can exploit that. No, the Saints have not been good on the road. Yes, I'm a Saints fan. Yes, give me the Saints to cover 4.5. I think the Saints probably lose this game 24-20, 2017. But I think they keep it close. I think they cover the spread. I think they're able to dictate a lot of the time of possession and control the line of scrimmage. And then I think that because of that, they can bring this game down to a field goal. So if they don't turn the ball over, I think the Bears are due for some regression here. Flat spot after a really long, strenuous 3 games to come home and have a flat spot. Give me the Saints, man. Next up, we've got the Dolphins on the road versus the Browns. Browns laying 2.5 points at home. This is an ugly game. Miami defense 30th in total yards given up, 32nd in rush yards given up, 168.5 rushing yards per game, and 29th in points per game. 30th in third down conversion. Browns, they're last in scoring offense. But I think, like I said last week, man, given the time with the young talent here, Quishon Judkins, Dylan Gabriel, and they have a really good defense. Give me the Browns to win this game at home. I think they can win this game against a struggling Miami team that's just not good in a lot of statistical categories. I think Miami does not travel well. We talked about that before on the show, that Miami plays really, really good at home, in the good weather, in the domes. They play really bad at home. Playing in Cleveland in October, not the spot you want to bet on Miami, man. So give me the Browns to win and cover. I just lost my place. 2017 in a 3-point game. Next up, man. Panthers, 1.5 point road favorites versus the winless Jets. I know some of y'all are betting on the Jets every week to get that win, man. That's a scary game. Panthers coming in this game with lots of momentum. Obviously, Rico Dowdle playing really well the last 2 games. And the Jets, only winless team in the NFL, looking and chasing to get that first dub, man. Panthers 4-2 ATS, Jets 3-3. What have we talked about, man? Panthers, better run game, better defense. Those things travel. I just don't think the Jets get there this game. I think the Jets get there next week at home against the Dolphins. I think they've got a couple in-division home games I think that they win. Those are the spots where I'm really looking to bet the Jets to win outright or get a cover. Maybe a late game against the Bills when the Bills are resting starters. Like, those are the spots I'm picking the Jets. Initially, I did lean towards the Jets in this spot. At the beginning of the season, when I looked at the schedule, I was on the Jets in this spot. The Panthers are riding a lot of momentum, and like I said, I don't want to play that game just yet with the Jets. I actually am pretty impressed with Carolina, so give me the Panthers to win 24-20, 23-20, something like that, by a field goal. They cover. Give me the Panthers. Next up, man, Eagles, 1.5 point road favorites versus the Vikings. This is probably a no touch spot for me. I'm dreading betting the Eagles, man. Coming off of 2 straight losses. One tough fought game to Denver, a really ugly loss to the Giants. When I look at this game on paper, it's terrifying. The Vikings are better in every single statistic. However, the Eagles are on a bounce back. edge after losing 2 straight games. The Vikings are at home after a bye, and then you got the Carson Wentz kind of revenge game aspect of it. It's tough, man, when I look at it and you want to say, well, the Eagles, they find a way to win. I don't think they do. I do think the Vikings have good coaching, Kevin O'Connell. I do think that they bring in Carson Wentz through the bye week. They get Jefferson, Addison, and they get this offense rolling. I think they figure some things out. I think the Eagles are on a tough stretch. I think they lose 3 straight. And I think they get bounced back at home next week versus the Giants, similar to the Jets. I don't think this is the bounce back spot. I think things are trending downwards for the Eagles. I think they are going to get a little bit worse before they get better next week. I think they lose this game outright. I do. I think the Vikings come into this game really motivated off of a bye week at home, and I think they play really well. I think they win this game 27-24. I think this is another really tight field goal game. I think we're going to see a lot of overtime and a lot of one-possession, last-minute field goal kicks to win the game this week. I think that's what a lot of these lines are telling me. And I think we're going to kind of figure out a lot about some of these teams and their trajectory after this week. Give me the Vikings, man, to win that one. That's a scary bet. Probably not touching it, but I lean towards the Vikings because I got to trust the paper. Moving on, man. Raiders on the road versus the Chiefs. Chiefs laying 12.5 points, man. Incredible line. Mahomes, this is what stood out to me when I'm researching this game. Mahomes, 36-2 straight up as a favorite over 7.5 points, but 13-24 ATS. So when Mahomes is a favorite of 7.5 points or more, so a large favorite, he wins the game 36 out of 38 times. That's like 97%. That's something I want to bet on. So the Chiefs are pretty much a guaranteed lock to win this money line, but he's 13-24 ATS. That's a terrible number. The Raiders, however, if I wanted to get there to bet the Raiders ATS, they lost both of their road games this year by double digits. And Geno Smith right now is probably playing the worst of any quarterback in the league. Probably any quarterback that I've even seen through the first 5 games. Like 7 touchdowns, 10 picks. He's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns by a few, which is horrendous. That's insane. The fact that he's 7-10 in his interception to touchdown ratio and he's coming into the game as a starter is kind of crazy. But these divisional games are close. I don't know, man. Part of me wants to take the Chiefs. They're getting Rashee Rice back. This is a spot for the Chiefs. Historically, they don't cover. Historically, these division games are close. I think the Raiders can keep this game close. I think they can rely on their run. I think they can ugly the game up. Maybe get a turnover. And I think they lose 27-17. But I think they can keep it within 12 points. So, give me the Raiders to cover this game. I'm going to fade the Chiefs. I don't think I've seen too much that I like about them. Give me the Raiders to cover the game. I think they do. It's too many points to lay in a divisional game for me. If it was a Chiefs team that had looked a little bit stronger, then maybe. But right as of now, I can't get there on 12.5. Moving on, man. Giants on the road versus the Broncos. Broncos laying 7.5. Statistically on offense, these teams are actually very similar, not far off from each other. I lean towards Denver. But defensively, obviously, Denver has the big advantage. Much better defense, pretty much all around. And a big home field advantage at Mile High Stadium. It's really hard for teams to come into Mile High Stadium and play their best ball and win, especially for offenses to put up points. However, coming off of a straining 3 games and an overseas game, right, against the Jets, where they did not look good. They did not look good. They definitely should have lost that game outright, but obviously their defense playing so good. Their defense won them that game. I think this could be a flat spot at home. Sometimes when you come up, kind of like when you're on a long road strain like that, a lot of strain, road warrior, and then you come home. Sometimes you can come home to a flat spot. Playing a Giants team that's not very good, not very well recognized within the league yet. I think the Broncos win this game, but I do think the Giants cover. I think the Giants, that moxie, that young talent, I think that little Spitfire gets them a cover in this game. I think Denver probably wins the game by 7 or 6, like 24-17, 20-16. But I think the Giants can cover. So give me the 7.5 in my back pocket. I think that's a little bit too much to lay with how close the Denver games and how shaky their offense has been lately. Give me the Giants. Next up, man, Colts on the road versus the Chargers. The Chargers laying 1.5 points at home. Just before I even get into my notes, when I first look at this game, I think of the Chargers as a team. The Chargers play and beat up on bad teams, but then they lose to good teams, and that's kind of the what makes the Chargers the Chargers. The Colts number one scoring offense, 32.3 points per game. Fourth in scoring defense, allowing less than 20 points per game. I think it's like 19.2 or something. Colts are not far behind. I'm sorry. Colts have the number one. Everything that I said was true. Colts number one scoring offense, 32.3 points per game, and they have the fourth best scoring defense. The Chargers as well have a very good defense, probably better. However, they're very susceptible to the run. The Chargers defense is susceptible to the run, which favors the Colts. The Chargers have given multiple 100-yard rush. The Chargers have given up 100-yard rushing games to multiple rushers this year, as well as, oh my gosh, why does it keep doing this to my notes? As well as 124 average rush yards given up per game. Give me the Colts to win, man. Sorry, I keep on messing up my notes. Every time I turn my phone sideways, it does this, and then it just loses my notes. It's so annoying. Sorry, gang. So, give me the Colts to win 28-26. I think they control the game on the ground. Better offense, better run game, travels. We've talked about it. The Chargers lose these games to good teams. That's who the Chargers are. Give me the Colts. Next up, man, Commanders, 1.5 point road favorites in Dallas versus the Cowboys, man. Jaden Daniels obviously comes in the game leading the number 2 rushing offense versus Dak and the Cowboys, who have the number 2 passing offense. The difference, though, is that Dallas has the worst defense in the league, and the Commanders have a top 10. I'm sorry, not top 10 defense. They just have one of the better defenses in the league, definitely in the top half. But they are top 10 in yards and EPA per play offensively, and they have one of the best offensive lines in terms of pass block and run block win rate. Divisional game, high motivation spot for both teams, but I just like, what do we talk about? What have I talked about this episode a lot? What travels? Defense, run game. Who has the better defense and the better run game? The Commanders. That travels in a divisional game. Give me the Commanders to win and cover the spread. The spread should probably be something more like 3.5 or 2.5. But give me the Commanders 31-27. Expose. I think they exposed that Dallas defense. I think Jaden Daniels, he's able to really have a get-right spot after the game they lost last week. The Commanders should have won the game last week against the Bears. They turned the ball over 3 or 4 times in the red zone. And they still were in position to win the game. I think they had like a 98 winning probability percentage with like 2 minutes left in the game when they had the ball before the JCM fumble. So I don't want to get into that. That was one of the worst beats I've ever had in my life. 61 yards? 61 yards? Anyways, man, give me the Commanders to win and cover. Next up, Packers. 6.5 point road favorites versus the Cardinals. Right now, as I'm making the video, Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. both questionable to play. Might sit out, might play. Jacoby Brissett, he obviously started for them last week. Alright. Threw a couple picks. Didn't look great. Didn't look awful. Biggest 2 edges are in favor of the Packers. Those are the offensive efficiency, the passing offense for the Packers versus the Cardinals, who are ranked 28th in passing defense. On the other side of the ball, you got the Packers' run defense, which is one of the best run defenses in the league. Going up against the Cardinals, who they have a decent run offense, but they have a terrible passing offense. So the strength in the Packers to force the Cardinals to be one-dimensional and pass the ball plays into what the Packers want. The Cardinals have not proven to be a very good passing offense this year. So both of those edges, man, leaning towards the Packers. I'm going to fall that way as well. I think the Packers win this game. I think they cover 34-17. I know they haven't been a great cover team in these games, but I think they have what it takes in this one. Oh! Give me the Packers, man. Let's see, man. Rolling on to our last 3, man. Sunday night, we got the Falcons on the road versus the 49ers. 49ers, 2.5 point home favorites. looking at this game, just without even looking at it too much, man, 49ers, lots of injuries, obviously on offense, wide receivers, quarterback. Most recently on defense, losing Fred Warner, which is a huge loss for them. Falcons, they're coming off of a big home win against the Bills. The biggest edge in this game is Fred Warner is the heart and soul of that 49ers defense. That's pretty much, a big factor of why they have one of the best run defenses, how they're able to get a lot of tackles for a loss. He's their signal caller. He's much more than just a great player. He really is the heart and soul of that defense. So with him being out, going up against the Falcons, who have, what did we talk about last week? The most skilled running back in the league, right? Bijan Robinson. So luckily for Bijan, this is another week where it's a really good matchup for him in back-to-back weeks. The other edge in this game is the 49ers have a really great passing offense. They have a terrible rush offense. They've been relying on passing, quick screens, getting the ball to, CMC out wide, and pushing the ball to the numbers. That plays right into the Falcons' matchup. That's what they want. The Falcons have the best passing defense in total yards and the best passing defense in passing yards. In total yards and in passing yards, they're number one on defensive ratings. Their pass play efficiency and their hurry rate is also top 5 in defenses among the NFL. So both sides of the ball, you're getting a really good matchup for Atlanta. Give me Atlanta to win this game, man. 49ers, 1-5 ATS at home. Not a number I want to put my money behind, especially when they're banged up, injured, not playing healthy. Give me the Falcons to win this game outright as a dog. Once again, the Falcons are going to be one of my favorite dogs of the week. 26-23, I think this is a field goal game, but I think Atlanta is able to win it. Moving on, man, we got our last 2 games, Monday night doubleheader again. First one, Buccaneers versus the Lions. Lions laying 5.5. Man, I was kind of bouncing back and forth on this game. Similar teams on paper. The Bucs, better passing offense. Lions, better running offense. Bucs, better running defense. Lions, better passing defense. However you want to look at that matchup and which team you think that favors better, it's hard to say. Notable starters are going to be out on both sides. So for the Bucs, Godwin, Evans, Igbuka, Bucky Irvin is doubtful, so a lot of offensive firepower missing. But then on the other side of the ball, you've got Branch, Arnold, another linebacker and DB out for the Lions. So it's kind of an even playing field. What I've been reading and hearing, and a lot of analysts have been talking about, is the Bucs due for regression. Oh, the Bucs are due for regression. The Bucs are due for regression. The Bucs have won all these games close. That's what they said last week, and they were wrong. And that's what they're saying this week. And there we go again. I just lost my place in my notes. Something about the Bucs DVOA and their net yards per play doesn't match a 5-1 record. This is a bounce back spot for the Lions at home. And I think I'm with the statistics. I'm with the analysts on this one, gang. This is a sharp bet. This is a bounce back spot at home for the Lions. I do think they win, and I do think they cover. I think the Bucs have been susceptible to explosive and big plays. So this is a game where I really like Jameson Williams, his over on his yards. Take him to anytime touchdown. And I think this is an explosive game for these guys. I think this is a game where they lean in Montgomery. He gets going, and that just plays into that late second half play action, deep pass play for the Lions to get the win and the cover. I think for the Bucs, I think they are due for some regression. I love Baker. I think he's having an MVP season. I think this is the flat spot for these guys. Just too many injuries on offense to sustain against a top-tier team in the NFC at home. Traditionally, historically, the Lions under Campbell have been extremely good ATS. Give me the Lions, man. Last game up, gang. We did it. We're here. Texans on the road versus the Seahawks. Seahawks 3.5-point home favorites, man. Seahawks, really explosive offense, while the Texans have had an abysmal offense with extreme offensive line struggles. I think obviously they were on the bye week last week. I think they were like top 3 in pressure rate for C.J. Stroud and sacks given up, right behind like Tennessee and I think who was up? I can't remember. This is just off the top of my head, gang. I want to say like Miami was in there and Bengals or something, but regardless, man, Texans do have a very good defense. Their defensive metrics are actually really amazing, And I think people overlook that because their record and their offense has been really struggling. Seattle, on the other hand, obviously been playing really well. They have had a interesting struggle ATS at home and winning games at home where historically, outside of maybe the last 2 years, they've been extremely good at home. One of the best home teams in the NFL. But over this last year, 2 years, they've had a really weird problem where they're struggling to cover spreads. I think this is going to be a hard-fought game, but I think the Texans' rest, bye week, and defense, what have we been talking about? What travels? Run game and defense. They don't necessarily have a run game, but they do have a defense I think that will show up. And just I think it's like one of those games where the Texans, off of a bye week, they just muddy it up. They muddy this game up, and they keep it close. I think they lose. I don't think they're not a dog, and I don't necessarily love this game, but I do like the Seahawks to win. And I do like the Texans to cover. I think they muddy this game up. I think the Seahawks win by a field goal, another field goal game, 23-20, 20-17, maybe some odd number like 20-16 or 17-16. But I just think that the Texans can keep it within a field goal, but I think that the Seahawks have the talent to pull it out at the end of the game. As far as my best bets of the week, gang, I'm busted. I have no best bets of the week. I forgot to do it. Not going to lie. Let me just go off the top of my head. Obviously, my favorite to cover is the Patriots. And my favorite underdog is the Colts. And probably the Lions. Let's go money line parlay. Let's do a quick one for you guys. Let's do Lions, Packers, Commanders, Broncos. All right, quick foreplay for you. I'll give you 2 teams that are guaranteed covers, Patriots and Colts. I guess the Colts are an underdog. So if you want to cover, let's do Lions. How about that? And my best bet of the week, all week, best bet, my hammer bet, go ahead and slap Utah. Holy War, Utah -3.5. They're going to win that game. They're going to smash BYU, man. That's my favorite pick of the week. I'm sorry I wasn't more prepared for you guys. It's been a rush. I've got to edit this and get it posted. As I'm filming this currently, it's Thursday, so I got to get this up before the game tonight. Hey, man. Bet responsibly. Much love, man. Thank you guys all for tuning in and supporting. I'm going to do my best, man, to give you guys some road to millions in the next couple weeks. And then we're going to flip the best bets upside down on their head, man. Peace and love. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. Catch me next week. Peace.